Good Friday morning, HD507. Hope all is well. Hope everyone is having a wonderful week. So let's talk about week 4 discussion and the reflection paper 3. It's kind of sort of the same because we're talking about the same topic. Not normally is the discussion and the reflection paper one and the same, but this time around it actually is. The industry versus inferiority. So when you watch the video of the young man, the student, and his movements, and what you probably didn't know was that the dad was the one narrating and filming. I know for myself, working in the school system, being a teacher, from teacher to dean, from dean to administrator, and understanding the dynamics of who kids are, what you can say to certain kids and what you cannot, and how we as educators at times don't recognize issues and we just go with what the industry thinks it is, whenever it's not. And what I mean by that is it's almost like knowing your audience. So many times teachers and educators don't know their audience. Even administrators don't know their audience. And when I say don't know their audience, who their kids are. Now, of course, if you have a big school and thousands of kids, it's hard for an administrator, especially a principal or an assistant principal, to really know everybody's issues, unless it's someone that's constantly coming to your office. And I say that even with teachers recognizing their students that they see on a daily basis, the same students. It could be Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It could be every day. It could be just Tuesday and Thursday. But at some point, you recognize who those individuals are. And you may notice traits if you're interested. Listen to what I say, if you're interested. So many times, and I've seen this, that we have educators that get into education because it's easy, the pay is pretty decent. If you have kids, you're off when your kids are off, so it's a movement. But do you really care about those that you are servicing? And I think that so many times we don't, because I've actually seen it. And case in point, when I was an administrator at a co-ed Catholic school, I had situations to where teachers would feel that I was undermining what they were saying and doing. I even had a principal tell me I was undermining teachers, and I was not. The school was predominantly African American, and the administrators were Caucasian. I'm not saying that Caucasian people don't know the cultures of others, but sometimes they don't. And if we don't educate ourselves as educators to understand all cultures, well, just like the father that was filming his son, you wouldn't really know what's going on with the young man. So I used to strive on knowing my students, because if this young man came into my classroom with his head down, and his head was down every day, then I'm like, okay, what's really going on? What's happening at home? And if it's something that's like that every day, and that's when you have a conversation with parents to try to find out what is the dynamic of that young person, what is going on at the home. So the point I'm trying to make here is that for you to be the best educator that you possibly can, you must understand the audience that you service. Some of you may have an iPhone, some of you may have a Samsung, but if you walk into an Apple store, you expect those individuals in those red shirts with that little apple, with the little white apple on their shirts, to know everything there is to know about your issues. And they may or they may not. And you get upset if they don't. It's the same with these young people that we're servicing. if you think about how most educators are, you may have kids and they go to school and they come back and say, Mom, Dad, this teacher's giving me a hard time, but they don't understand the dynamics that may be going on at home for whatever issue that it may be. So it's my job as a professor, as an educator that's in administration, to help those understand. Don't just go with what you think is the top surface. Understand who the individual is. Because if you know that there's a backstory when he or she walks into your room, or when he or she walks into another part of the building, and you see something, you know, okay, well, I know this is the reason why. You understand. You're not assuming, but you have to know. So by saying all this, when you're writing your reflection paper, think about, and some of you already have, which is great, and I've read them, which is phenomenal. But think about a situation that you may have noticed either from your own children, or if you work with kids, or you've heard stories of how teachers may treat certain other children or students, and not knowing the backstory, and understand that if you see different behaviors, you might want to get to know that person, because you could help them, they could help you, and you could help the class. Because at the end of the day, we're there to educate and to help and to uplift, not to judge and go with the industry aspect of what we think is wrong and just X those people out. Because you need to include everyone, because everyone is equal when they come into that class, regardless of what may be their situation of not understanding or not going with the flow of what the classroom is. It's your job as an educator to take that extra step and get to know. So with your discussion, I've read most of your discussions, as I do just about everything that you send. If you have not answered your classmates, maybe this video may make you think a little bit more of individuals that you know that may have had a similar situation as the student that you saw in the classroom. And I applaud the father for doing this. Is trying to get us to see and open up our minds that everybody's different. But just because they're different doesn't mean that they can't learn like someone else, or you have to do something extra to make it work. And the same as with your reflection paper. So I hope this helps for week 4, along with the other videos that I did send to you a few days ago. And I will be sending more as we go through the rest of this week, to make sure that you do the best that you possibly can with your papers and your reflection. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a great weekend, and I'll speak to everyone soon.